Hey guys, it's Kevin, and that's a big old highway above me. Now, a lot of people have wondered how I ended up in Asia, why I'm in Asia, how it all began, and I'll tell you a little bit of how I got here. So, take a listen. There was a train over there too, you saw it go by. Hey guys, so here I am in a park that I showed in a video a few weeks ago. Now, let's cut to the chase. How the heck did I end up in Asia? Well, many years ago when I wasn't such a crusty old fart, I had just freshly graduated from university and I had a degree. Well, basically I had an arts degree. So I had a Bachelor of Arts, not specializing in anything, and obviously there weren't too many job ads in the newspaper looking for someone with a BA. I bounced around for about a year or more afterwards working as a performer. And you know what? The internet bubble was still big. The IT industry was booming. It was the late 90s. I decided to go back to school. So I went back to school and took a 2-year course in electronic game design, and I specialized in 3D graphics. And my forte was 3D Studio Max modeling. So I was a 3D modeler. And before I graduated, I was recruited by a video game development company. I worked at a game development company in a small eastern Canadian city called Moncton, province of New Brunswick. And it was a really interesting job. Did a lot of interesting stuff, but I was a junior artist, so I didn't get to be as creative as I'd hoped to be, obviously being a junior artist. It was a very stressful job. Now, I had 2 roommates at the time who both worked in the IT industry. One at my company, one at a different company. And we had a nice house we rented, and, you know, things were good. I was making some good coin, but it was a stressful job, and I just wasn't satisfied. Why? Because I always daydreamed about traveling. I'd never really traveled, and I'd always wanted to travel. So I'd come home from work, and at 10 o'clock at night, I think it was. Why is my voice so high? 10 o'clock at night, most nights, weeknights, on satellite, we would watch Lonely Planet, the Lonely Planet TV show, and I think the host was Ian Wright, this British guy, and Justine Shapiro, is that right? I'm not really sure, maybe that was it, and some other folks, and we'd gather around and we'd sit down in the living room and watch this all the time, and see where they were going to be traveling to, often drinking beer and watching and just talking about shit. Wouldn't it be great to be out of where we are and the stress of our jobs and to be able to travel? I mean, I had a job where I made good money, but I never had the time to go anywhere or do anything with it. So, So, working at the company, frustrated. I was doing freelance work on the side too, earning extra money. So, just very busy. And one of my roommates went out one night. He came back that night pretty hosed, and he was telling me all about what was going on. And he'd been at a goodbye party for one of his friends who was actually, and I said, he's going away. Where's he going? He's moving to South Korea to teach English. And I think I'd been home drinking that night too with my other roommate. And we started talking. I started asking him questions like, so how did he get a gig like that? Well, you just basically, he had a university degree and he went through a recruiter and got a job in Korea. I didn't know anything about Korea, aside from what I saw on the TV show MASH, and Corporal Klinger and Hawkeye Pierce's version of Korea is probably not the most accurate portrayal, but nonetheless, I think probably like most Canadians or Americans, don't know anything about Korea. So I asked him a few more questions in my relatively inebriated state about it. I said, you know what, man, can you ask your friend to get the email address of this recruiter? And he did. A few days later, he gave it to me. I contacted this recruiter, gave him a call. He was a guy who lived in Halifax, Nova Scotia. He'd been a guy who'd been like many recruiters, he'd been a former English teacher who was now working as a recruiter. He ended up being quite a snake oil salesman nonetheless, but at the end of the day, it sounded good in the beginning. And he sold me on Korea. We talked a couple of times on the phone, and he just had me sold. He was like, yeah, they'll pay for your airfare, they'll fly you here, you'll teach, it's great, good stuff. So I got the ball rolling. Sent him my resume, copy of my degree, all this stuff. And in those days, it was much easier to get a visa to work in Korea than it is now. This is before there were security background checks, before criminal record checks, before there were drug tests, before there were medical checks, before all that stuff. And there wasn't the demand there is today. Like now there's much more of a demand. I mean, as in a lot more people want to go and teach, you know, as of right now in 2010. This was, you know, 2001, and you know, just there weren't that many people, you know, I mean, there were quite a few people, but it wasn't very well known, and not many people were heading over. And, you know, yeah. So I sent in my resume, and I got all that stuff, and I, you know, he's like, okay, we got you a job. I got a job in this place called Ilsan, which was like outside of Seoul, a suburb. And of course, you know where the hell that was. I went and bought a book about Korea, about the Lonely Planet book, and read about it, and looked at the stuff, and I went into work, and I resigned from my job. Told the reason. My boss was quite shocked and surprised. He was like, all right, man, good luck. Now, I planned on just going to Asia for 1 year. I was going to go to Korea for 1 year, travel, go to Vietnam, Thailand, maybe China, do that up, and then come back to Canada and continue my career working in the game industry, or as a 3D modeler, doing some kind of, either as a freelancer, or working for some kind of, you know, possibly a video production company or something like that. But, yeah, here we go, you know, stayed for many more years and became a teacher, you know, professional teacher, and now I'm in Japan. But that's another story. So there you go. That's how I got to Asia. So here's what I want to know. If you're willing to leave a comment or video response. How did you find yourself in Asia? Number 2, if you're not in Asia, but you want to go to Asia, why? What interests you about coming to a country like Korea, Japan, China? And if you honestly don't give a crap and don't want to come to Asia, that's cool. Tell me why. Tell me why there too. All right, guys, take care. It's Busankevin, and this was video 300 posted. So thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. It's awesome. Yeah. See ya.